Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, episode 13. And surprisingly, there was no filler in this episode. they, A1 Studios really likes putting filler into Magi, but this time they actually followed the manga. They start off the episode with the stuff. Well, it's right before final examinations, but most of the episode focuses on what happens after that. Aladdin and Sphinx, they both are up in first corridor now, and you need to be in first corridor in order to move up to your second year. If you're in second corridor or below, you have to repeat the year. And those two are actually the only ones to move up. So the power of being a main character is it's special. That's some special power right there. But those two make it up, and they're doing they each do like this pose when they get introduced by Myers. Like Sphinx, he's like trying to look cool. It's like, oh no, it's not nearly as close as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Actually, I was about to say it was, but it's really not. But um, yeah, they're talking about the final exams and everything. They're talking about how they believe that Aladdin is going to end up being the top student in the year. And it turns out, no, he's not. It's actually Titus. Titus is the top student of the year. And these guys are all surprised, like, what? How is Aladdin not the top student? And, you'd think that if another talented student were there, they would know about it. Like, are these guys blind? Like, did Titus have like private exams and no one could watch? Like, I don't get how these guys could not know about Titus. Apparently, he's like famous since he's from the Alexius family. From the Alexius family. Um, but how can these guys not know that he's like? They're kind of contradicting themselves here. Everyone knows him, yet no one knows him. Right? Like, how can he be so famous, yet these guys have no clue that he's even there? And if he was as skilled as Aladdin, you would think that people would know, oh my god, did you hear there's this guy who's as skilled as Aladdin? But apparently no one knew. Like, I don't see how that's possible. But, whatever. Apparently these guys don't know about Titus, and then apparently they do know about Titus. Whatever. But he ends up walking up to accept the title of top student, I guess you could say. And you can see all the Rook flying around him. Um, so, I mean, the last time we saw something like that was with Judal, except it was Black Rook instead. This guy, but Titus currently hasn't fallen into depravity yet. Yet. I act like he's going to at some point. He's not. Does he? I don't remember, actually. Who cares? It's not. Well, I mean, technically, it's not really. No, it's not really. It's not really. I mean, it kind of is, but who cares? Who cares? This is when we legitimately see Titus for the first time. Though I mean, we kind of saw him in the preview, but this is when we legitimately see Titus, and it's clear from his character design that this guy is clearly like the most manly man ever. Like, this dude is just so masculine. He's more masculine than the Masculine from Bleach. And not only is Titus incredibly masculine, he's also a big bully. I mean, just to say it simply, he's a bully. He's got these two stooges doing whatever he says, and these two girls have a room, but he's trying to force them out of the room so that he can have it and stuff. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. It's calm down. It's a room. Like, yeah, Titus is not making any friends, pretty much. He's got those two guys that no one cares about. All right, but other than that, he's got no friends. But then he sees Aladdin and he decides, you know what? I'll make friends with you. But he's not really like being nice about it. He's still kind of like looking down on him and everyone else. And rather than responding to that friend request, Aladdin decides to grope his chest because he has a high voice and a big butt. Therefore, Aladdin thinks that he's a girl. You would think that his face would make you think he's a girl and not just those other two things. But apparently it was those two things and not his face that made Aladdin think he was a girl. But no, he's not a girl. He's actually a guy. And Svintis thought this was hilarious. He thought it was a little too funny, actually. He laughed too much. He kind of surprised me. I was like, calm down, man. It's not that funny. But he was just having a ball. Mm. Titus, however, was not having a ball, safe to say. He was very annoyed, and a fight was about to break out, but Mogamet had to show up. All right, and him and the teachers ended up postponing that fight to the next day. And yeah, this scene was not. Mogamet says some words to them, but it's not really worth mentioning. I mean, we've seen Mogamet before, back when he was talking with Koha, but I mean, the scenes here remind you of all the things that Magnostan has done throughout the series and how the things Magnostan has done affected other characters in the series. But it's not like this is anything new. We knew this already. So I mean, if you forgot, then you got reminded here. But if you didn't forget, then it's just another scene, right? So yeah. But after that, they have their fight, Aladdin and Titus do, I mean, and no point in doing play-by-play here. There was a lot of magic. Aladdin used his Ugo spell for the first time. I mean, you kind of, if you watched episode 1, then you were spoiled about that Ugo spell, but so it's really not your first time seeing it. So it doesn't have as nearly a, as it doesn't have nearly as big of an effect as it should. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, could have had a bigger effect, but no, because they decided to spoil it in the first episode. Like they spoil pretty much everything that happens in the parts of the manga that the anime is going to cover, which is stupid. I've talked about this before. There's no need. There's no need to go into it again. Um, yeah, there's Ugo. There, Titus creates natural disasters using steam or something like that. Apparently, it's like volcanoes or eruptions, something like that. Whatever. Whatever. I'll just accept it. I don't really care that much. It's magic. I mean, I don't really care that much. Um, when Titus used it for the first time, I thought it was kind of funny. Mogamet told everyone to get behind him, but like the arena is like it's a circle around the fighting area. Like, he's telling people to get behind him. That's impossible. Like 5 people will be able to get behind him. Like everyone else is gonna be stuck where they are. I just thought that was a really stupid comment for him to say. He's telling people to get behind him, and there are people all the way on the other side. I can't wait. What about us? Like I just thought that was a really freaking stupid comment on his part. But whatever. This episode has a lot of things where I just have to say whatever too. Um, yeah, I mean there's not much to mention about the fight. I mean, there's like I said, there's no point in doing play-by-play. I mean, if you watched it, you watched it. But there is towards the end of the fight. Oh, I will mention that both Aladdin and Titus, they don't cut each other, but they brush up against each other's arms, and it turns out that Titus actually has the same jewels that Aladdin has on his forearms. So this creates this misunderstanding because Aladdin is under the impression that well the reason that those jewels prevent you from using Rook externally. Right? They prevent you from using the Rook in nature and everything, and only Magi are supposed to be able to do that. Right? So when Aladdin sees that Titus has these jewels on his forearms as well, he naturally thinks that Titus is a Magi, which is impossible because we already have 3 Magi. We have a Judal, we have Scheherazade, and we have Yunnan. Aladdin is an exception. Okay, we've seen all these different clips of this different world, and we keep hearing Aladdin say that he's different from everyone else, and he has this different. His home is different from everyone, and all this stuff. All right, like if it's pretty, they've told you enough where you can put. I was. I'm not even. I was going to say that they told you enough where you can put 2 and 2 together, but they haven't. They've done more than that. They've literally told you already. It's just a matter of Aladdin coming out and saying it. For he already did come out and say it actually. The episode where what's her name died. The girl with Isaac, who used the black vest, the black metal vessel. That girl from the Mustashim Empire or whatever. The episode that she died, he said it, you know. So I mean, this is I'm not. I mean, I won't come out and say it either, but I'm just saying Aladdin is an exception in that three Magi rule. So the chances of Titus being a Magi are very freaking low. All right, it's though I guess it's still natural for him to assume that Titus is a Magi. I don't think he's seen Scheherazade or Yunnan before. I don't think he's legitimately met them and knows what they look like. So it's possible he thinks that Titus is that's just an alias, but whatever. The point is that there's a misunderstanding where Aladdin thinks that Titus is a Magi, and Titus knows he's not a Magi. He's actually the subordinate to a Magi, Scheherazade specifically, which is obvious because his last name is Alexius. But you know, he's the subordinate to Scheherazade, and not just a normal subordinate, because a normal subordinate, a normal household person, well, Magi don't have households, but you know what I mean. A normal subordinate wouldn't be able to use the rook in nature, right? So him having these jewels on his forearms, there's clearly something special about him, all right, for him to be able to use Rook the same way that a Magi can, even though he's not a Magi. There's something special about him. All right, so keep an eye out for that. Though it probably won't. I forgot when it comes up. Probably like another couple episodes or so, but maybe a little bit longer actually. But it's not. Oh yeah, it is important. right now, you don't need to worry about that. Just keep an eye out for why exactly Titus is special later on. But yeah, they create this huge misunderstanding. Titus thinks that Aladdin is a subordinate of a Magi, and Aladdin thinks that Titus himself is a Magi. And Mohamed ends up calling the match a draw. After that, Titus attacks Aladdin because he gets caught off guard or something like that. It was something weird, like he lost his composure because he thought he would fail his mission. So he has a mission there. We know that too. But he thought he would fail his mission, and he lost control or became impatient or some stupid excuse that didn't make sense. It was just some stupid excuse. Whatever. The point is he attacks Aladdin. Aladdin gets knocked out for a decent amount of time, and he has a dream about the other world. We see King Solomon, we see Ammon, we see Zaga, we see Paimon. There were a few other guys and girls there. I think one of them was I thought one of them was Sinbad's Jinn, specifically the one where he can use Badarak Psycha. I think that was the Jinn. Well, not necessarily. But I have a feeling that that Jinn was one of the guys there. I just have a feeling, but who knows for sure. But we see a bunch of different Jinn in their human forms, I guess you could call them. In this other world, we see King Solomon. We see this woman next to King Solomon, and both her and Ammon are talking about how Solomon has pretty much put a Cohen. He's pulled a Cohen, and he was able. Cohen hasn't done this yet, but it's his goal to unify the world. Right? He wants there to be one king, and that he wants the code to just unify the world. Right? And Solomon in this other world has accomplished just that. He has unified the world. However, the magicians don't agree with that, and the magicians pretty much end up causing the destruction of the world. Okay? And you could think of that as foreshadowing. I mean, what Solomon did is what Cohen is going to do, or at least he's going to try to do. The magicians of that world ended up destroying that world pretty much. Right in this world, we have magicians creating these black metal vessels, dark metal vessels, and doing all this stuff to throw the world into turmoil, and they end up they're helping out Thaman, creating all these abnormalities. You know, clearly these magicians, clearly something's going to happen in this arc, all right, where the magicians not necessarily end up destroying the world, but they do something bad, all right. and I shouldn't say they, because it's not like all magicians are bad, especially with, magicians like Yamaraya out there. But, this is pretty much foreshadowing. That much is clear at this point. They're foreshadowing magicians being bad guys, pretty much. Or at least a few of them being bad guys, alright? But that's pretty much it for the episode. I've talked for way too long, and I'm like half awake right now. The last part of the episode is Aladdin waking up after having that dream and then talking a little bit to himself, plus the whole scene with Scheherazade and Titus. And one of the things Aladdin says is that there's no one in the world like him. Okay, so that's another clue as to like why he's an exception as this fourth Magi. All right, because Judal has said in the past too, this guy's an exception. There's something up with this guy. There are only supposed to be 3 Magi, and that's me, Scheherazade, and Yunnan. This kid is an abnormality. There's something up with him. He shouldn't be here. All right. So we've heard this from Judal as well. We've heard it from Aladdin a few times now. Plus we keep getting these flashbacks to another world. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. But overall, I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10 because there were some parts that were okay, like in the beginning. The fight was good. I liked that. That was good. Plus the ending was cool as well with some foreshadowing and stuff like that. So I'll give the episode an 8 out of 10. It was pretty good. But that's it for now, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
信じるこの道を進めたいけさ